Japanese horror films are unlike anything else, and these 5 movies prove it. A unique experience that requires preparation. They're not for the faint of heart. The Watcher in the Attic tells the story of a hotel guest named Saburo Goda, who has a peculiar hobby. He sneaks up to the hotel attic and, through cracks in the walls, spies on other guests, observing their lives. Among these guests is a particular favorite of his, a woman named Madame Minako, who frequently invites men into her room. One day, Minako catches Saburo in the act of spying. However, rather than being outraged, she not only accepts his voyeuristic habits, but also turns it into a twisted show. She lures men into her room and kills them in various gruesome ways, all for Saburo's entertainment. Wolf Guy begins with a series of strange murders in a neighborhood, all the victims being members of the same gang. What makes these killings even more bizarre are the unusual marks found on the bodies, and the fact that each victim reported seeing a monstrous creature before their death. A reporter named Akira decides to take on the case. In his investigation, he uncovers a connection to Mickey, a former singer who was once assaulted by members of the same gang. At this point, Mickey becomes the main suspect, but this is just the beginning. Shogun Sadism is a short anthology that, at first glance, presents 2 separate stories from different periods in time. The first story tells of Christians in Japan, their persecution, and the truly harsh lives they endured during the medieval era. The second story takes place in the 19th century and follows Sutezo, a man forced to work under a cruel brothel master to repay his debts. Despite their different settings, both stories are bound by a common thread of brutality and human suffering. The story follows 3 young men who have only recently entered adulthood. However, calling them decent would be a stretch. They spend their days riding motorcycles, causing trouble, making crude jokes, and relentlessly pursuing women, often without regard for consent. They remain blind to the consequences of their actions until one of them meets Nami, a girl he falls for in a way he never has before. Determined to change his ways, he decides to leave his old life behind. But there's one thing he didn't consider. His 2 friends won't let him go that easily. A young woman is a promising artist, but her mind is clouded by memories of the past. As a child, she encountered something terrifying, something she could barely comprehend. Near a secluded beach, she came face to face with a real vampire. Yet for reasons she can't explain, the memory remained hazy, almost as if it had been erased. Nearly 20 years later, now an adult, she returns to that same beach, hoping to confront the mystery. But soon she realizes she's made a terrible mistake.